a think tank with the Commission yesterday and today. I think they want to squeeze information out of us for free while they have the chance. So I'm in a technology session, and I'm not interested in technology at all. For me, the technology is just an enabler. It's what it provides, the outcomes, which are important for me. So having said that, I'll now give you a presentation that you probably won't be interested in. You probably all heard of Xerox, but have no idea what we do in transportation. Well, we do loads. Every single day we process more than 100 million public transport tickets worldwide. We process more than $5 billion a year in road tolls, and we process more than 16 million parking violation tickets worldwide. All for the... How many are yours, young man? I gave this presentation in London at an embassy a few weeks ago, and they all looked blank. What are parking tickets, they thought. Anyway, so we do quite a lot in transportation. I haven't got a zapper, but bear with me, don't panic about this, it's quite simple. This is my view of the ITS element of the smart city. And it's really quite simple. At the top, we have monitoring. So first of all, everybody wants to know what's happening with the networks. And we get that information from the systems that we run and from the sensors. So we have floating car data, which are vehicles traveling around the network, video, CCTV, social media, loop detectors, anything to give us information. Bring that into a central processing area, which I call a mobility analytics platform, merge that with other information, and process it and turn it into something useful. And that useful intelligence we then use to better manage the systems that we've got operating in the city and region, and to better inform people so that they can take better informed decisions about how and when they travel. And of course, we also encourage people to, like TfL, who are leaders in this, to make that open data. So for many years I've been telling people to invest in ITS. There's a certain stage you get to when I say stop. Don't build the apps yourself, because you're probably not the best people to do it. Make your data open and allow other people to provide those services that support your policy objectives, and you don't have to pay for it. So there is a balancing point when you actually get other people to work for you for nothing. And all this is underpinned by the key things, which are the business case. So how do we make some money out of it? Because we want to keep it going. The policy objectives, how can we adjust these levers to make sure we get new policy objectives as they emerge? The user needs, to make sure that we're satisfying the public and the travellers' demands. The key performance indicators, so we know that we're doing a decent job. And the governance. Because for me, one of the crucial things is that in all the stuff that I'm doing, I want the authorities to be involved in the governance. If it's just the private sector, which is what I am, I think we fail to unlock the community-wide benefits of ITS. We just restrict it to a niche of people who can pay for it. Anyway, one of the things we specialise in is the back office systems. And I know it's sad, but I have a favourite back office system. And it's this one in Montreal. And it's not because it's a Xerox back office system, it's because it's smart procurement. In Montreal, there are 19 different operators running the public transport systems. And the public don't care. It's like when you drive on the road. You don't care who owns it or who maintains it. You just drive. So they don't care who owns the buses or the trains or the trams. They just use their card, they get on, and off they go. What makes this back office system different is that each of the 19 operators' sensitive data is kept separate and secure just for them. So the other 18 don't see it. But on a top level, we can do data analytics because all the data is in the same format. So the city and the operators can gain from the insight we do from data analytics whilst protecting their commercial concerns. Brilliant. So for me, this is the way of the future, to have a back office system that keeps some integrity over individual operators' information, but you can plug people in and build it up. So talking about data analytics, this is one of them is Grenoble, one of them is Nazi. I can't remember which. But all we did was we took ticket data on public transport and modelled where people got onto the network and where they got off. Do it 2 weeks later, and 2 weeks later, and 2 weeks later. And you can begin to build up the changing patterns of travel behaviour, which means it puts you in a position to introduce new services at an earlier stage because you see that the trends developing much earlier. So everything we do, we try to build in data analytics so that we can squeeze some value out of it. Okay, I use this to explain how we travel. I can see I'm in a room of very boring people. I'm sure you will drive the same route to the shops. You park in the same bit of the car park. You go to the same shops, you buy the same stuff, and then you go home again. Yeah? Unless somebody shows you a new way of doing it, you'll just carry on doing that because you're comfortable doing it. Now, this is the London Underground, of course. So if you imagine you're at the Embankment and you want to go up to Covent Garden, you can see there are several different ways you can do it. You can go up the Northern Line to Leicester Square and then up to Covent Garden. You can go up the other one, I always forget that one, it's Hammersmith, I think. Hammersmith Piccadilly line, up to Piccadilly and then change. And that's what people do. But there is another way. Step outside of the station, you can walk from the Embankment to Covent Garden in 8 minutes. And it feels less walking than you do in the tunnels of the Underground. But unless somebody tells you that, you'll never know. So when we introduce new systems, I think it's really important that we explain to people, this is something new, and this is how you do it. So we did this in Los Angeles. Los Angeles, like most cities, were concerned about traffic circling looking for parking spaces. So we installed 6,000 sensors across parking spaces across 800 streets in Los Angeles. So we had all the information about these parking bays. So occupancy, how much people had paid, whether the machines were broken, everything about them. Merged that information in a control center, and we applied a dynamic pricing algorithm to those parking spaces so we could change the prices of individual bays or blocks of bays or streets, and made the data available to app developers to give to people driving it. We also had variable message signs to tell people, but the idea was to use pricing to nudge them in a new way. So by giving them information on nearby spaces which are available and cheaper, we change people's behaviour. And although we reduced prices at 60% of the spaces and only increased them at 27%, we did get an increase of 2% in the revenue. But more importantly, we reduced the circling traffic by 10%. But unless we'd shown people what it was doing and how to use it, they would have just carried on looking for their favourite space, like you people. We've been doing some surveys, travel surveys across Europe. We're just doing one worldwide, but this is a European one. And I just pulled out a couple of things. By 2025, 18 to 24-year-olds in our cities, 51% of them will decide where to live and work based upon the transport that they've got available to them. Half of them think they'll have one app for all their transport needs. 41% don't think they'll be using cash to pay for transport. 37% think they're using an electric car. And 32% think they're using a self-driving car. So these are the young people's expectations. And we're going to have to try and deliver something, I think. Anyway, moving on to mobility services. One of the problems is you don't know what's out there until you know what's out there. So this is from Los Angeles, and you can see there's been an explosion in mobility services. And unless you're super whizzy 7-year-old, you've got no idea of how to make sure that you're up to date with all this stuff. So what we've done is we've done a system in Denver. We've done one in Los Angeles, we've done one in Denver. We're about to do one in northern France. Done a system in Denver called Go Denver. So really simple. The users have an app where they put their profile preferences in, which they can change. And then they say the journey that they want to go on. And we have what we call a mobility marketplace. So you remember the Montreal back office system? This is something similar. We've invited lots of mobility providers into the platform. Their data is kept separate and secure. They're all treated in the same way. So Uber and Lyft, because they're massive, they don't get any better treatment of routes than a guy with a couple of minibuses. So the route selections are offered to the user. They choose what they want, and off they go and they get a seamless journey. Now, the benefits are, you're not trying to... Oh, don't bother with the time, it's fine. So the benefits are, for the city, they get better use of their transport systems, they get optimization, they get public feedback and co-creation. So co-creation is building new services where they become identified, and maybe they get a revenue share in the future. So now I'm working for the city on this. We just did the back office. For the users, they know their options, they get personalised analytics, and it's easy. They don't have to keep up to date because the mobility marketplace keeps them up to date. A new service comes available, it's included in the search. And for the mobility providers, they get a level playing field, they get an opportunity to increase their market share. And this is my last slide, so I'll take a breath. So what all this is about, it's not about smart cities, which is a really boring term, means nothing. It's about more livable cities. It's making it a better place for people to live and work. And in order to do that, I come back to the policy objectives. And the policy objectives are nearly always a combination of safety, inclusion, better mobility, improved environmental performance, accessibility, more efficiency, better quality of life, more reliable services, better health, and supporting the economy. So that's why we're doing these services, and that Go Denver is our version of mobility as a service, as we call it in Europe, and mobility on demand, as they call it in the States. And I've got to leave, but if you've got questions, you can find me on LinkedIn or send me emails. And the reports I mentioned, we did a UK one that you can download, and we've done a European one that you can download. With that, I'll stop. Thank you.